This is Boxing Tickets NI in association with that prize guy. I am delighted to be joined with one of Ireland's newest professional boxers. Obviously, there's been quite a few this week, but delighted to be joined with Craig Coakley. Is that
Coakley.
correct?
Coakley.
Coakley. I'm a terrible one when we last names at times. So,
Don't be
uh,
worrying. It's all good. Good
Staying in
strong
Kelly,
Irish name though. Good strong Irish name though.
Staying in Kelly, obviously, be one that can vouch for that. I think until about last year, I couldn't even get his first name right. And I struggle with
Right.
people's last names. But um, this has this been a long time sort of coming for you, Craig. Obviously,
Yes and no. Obviously I was a Muay Thai fighter throughout the years, and I've obviously established a very good name in Muay Thai, and I've done some big things. I've won world titles. I've made it to the biggest stage in Muay Thai, which is one championship. But kind of got stuck in a bad contract with one. I had a lot of momentum going behind me, and I was put on a shelf for the guts of a year with no fight and no plan to fight. Uh, I came to a stage where my girlfriend had to go back to work, and training was becoming scarce because like that she has to work. We have to provide. We've two kids. So I wouldn't say I was on the couch, but I wasn't training like I should have been training because obviously I was trying to make money also. Uh, got a fight with one of the top prospects on like 5 weeks now. It's ended up losing. I took a body shot in the fourth round. It was a nice shot on his behalf. But after that, it was kind of like it was an uphill battle for me. Do you know what I mean? They don't really give you plans on fights, so like there's no like right here's your fight, you're gonna be fighting 2 3 months down the line, whatever it may be, 12 week camp. It's more or less 4 weeks, 5 weeks, there's your fight. So you kind of have to be able to stay ready. Now it is I train all the time, I'm always in the gym, but like that intensity between like camps, we'll say, changes obviously, especially when you have kids. It's a little bit different when you have two kids. I've one young kid also, so I do need time to prepare myself, and like that, I like a good camp behind me. I like 8 to 12 weeks training for a fight, because obviously you're building confidence the more you train. But outside of one championship, there's no real opportunities in Muay Thai, will say. There's no real money to be made. So we did look during COVID. We were looking into boxing because boxers were still getting fights. There was still stuff happening in the boxing world where there was nothing happening in the boxing world throughout COVID. So that's when I kind of sparked the interest with boxing. Obviously, kept going through the Muay Thai route because I was up to big things there. You know what I mean? I wasn't gonna just leave it behind. But when the opportunities fizzle out, I decided, right, I'm gonna give this a good go now.
for anybody obviously that isn't aware of obviously what Muay Thai is, and obviously I believe I'm trying to think because we've had quite a lot of people transition from across. Jamie Morrissey was Muay
Jamie
Thai, wasn't
Morrissey
he?
was a Muay
Yeah.
Thai fighter
So,
also. He was an Irish champion.
so you had to throw so many kicks, isn't that correct? In a round.
Oh no, 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 no. It's so Muay Thai. It's boxing, kicks, elbows, knees, and clinch. So you can go inside and clinch. Basically, it's like a little bit like wrestling, but it's not wrestling. You're not allowed to take people down. You're not allowed to go to the ground or anything like that. So it's stand up striking. But there's no like you have to throw a certain amount of kicks. I think that's kickboxing. I think that's
Boxing.
like a certain style of kickboxing that's in. But Muay Thai is based on effect. So if I'm the more effective fighter, like that through damage, then more than likely I'm gonna win fights.
So it obviously has a lot of similarities to boxing. Obviously, you're punching and things like that. I guess if you're able to take elbows and things like that, punching is the least of your worries.
Exactly.
We see so many people they say they have a granite chin and things like that. If you would rather get punched by a fist, then get punched by punched by an elbow. So
Or
like,
take a shin to the dome. Do you know what I mean? Someone's
yeah,
shin landing on you clean across your head. It's no joke, like. But like that, it's no joke in boxing either. Like it's a continuous, sustained attack rather than like Muay Thai. It's a little bit faster pace, I'd say, but there's less rounds. And like that, like boxers only punch, so like you're constantly taking shots to the head. Whereas in Thai, like people are kicking your legs, they're in your body. Uh, there's other weapons. Do you know what I mean? So boxing for most Muay Thai fighters is one of the least, uh, one of the back skills. We'll say like it wouldn't be the biggest skill in Muay Thai. But like that, I would have boxed quite a lot throughout the years, so boxing would have been one of my strong suits.
was it something did you box as an amateur very early on, and then sort of because you have to have the different skill sets, don't you? Sort of have to have certain elements to add to it. It's not like you just
Yeah,
go I can do Muay Thai. You have to add the different elements the same way that the UFC and things like that would be. You'd have all your different
yeah.
categories you have to work
Aspects
on.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I boxed when I was fairly young. I grew up in a place called Liberty House. It's in Dublin One. It's a fairly rough area, like so. It's boxing or it's football. Do you know what I mean? It's one or the other. I chose boxing. I had a couple of amateur fights when I was really young, but I didn't really like the boxing gyms back then. I think coaches are very stuck in their ways. Like it just go shadow box, go hit the bag, go spar. There's no real like learning unless you're really good and they take a liking to you. Then there's no real learning. Like again, the levels go up. The better you get, the more that a coach will take a shine into you. But I didn't like. I didn't submerge myself in it. I'll say I didn't stick to it. Uh, I ended up falling off a little bit. Doing jiu-jitsu and MMA. Then from that, me jiu-jitsu coach me ended up telling me that I needed to learn more striking. So I went to a Muay Thai gym and I fell in love with that. But I rekindled it. I'll say we rekindled the love of boxing.
I guess it's sort of that unfinished sort of chapter, obviously, where you started it off with it, and then you're going, you know what? Now I've got the experience of everything else, and you've grown up. You obviously have a lot of fight experience and everything else. You go, well, let's come back and give it a go. Like, what's the worst that can happen? You can get beat. You faced
Yeah,
defeat before. Like, what's the worst that can happen?
exactly.
You don't want to look back in 10 or 15 years' time and go, I could actually have
I
been all
should
right
have
at that
done this
boxing.
or I should have done that. You know what I mean? Yeah, no.
What got you into the sort of fight game? I was doing a bit of research. Obviously, I believe your brother's the one. You're the middle child, and all
Yeah.
three have obviously fought in some way. So it was your older brother that sort of took you down a sort of path into the fighting thing. I guess when you're growing up in a sort of rough area, you need to be able to handle yourself. So was that your brother's idea was to get you along, or was it just the nosiness of being the looking up to the bigger brother and going, I want to do what you do?
A bit of both, and I was getting myself into a lot of trouble when I was a kid. I always liked to fight, like, do you know what I mean? Like, fighting is something that I've liked, and I'd be getting myself into a lot of trouble and a lot of fights when I was a kid. So my brother was like, you have to go to a gym, like, fucking get this energy out of you, you know what I mean? Like, and obviously, when you learn how to fight, you realise, like, fighting on the streets and all that, no good, do you know what I mean? And yeah, that's like seeing him compete and seeing him train and seeing him just better himself. That they were more the reasons that I got involved in combat.
It's always the way, isn't it? It's always a brother. It's always an older brother. It's always a really good family friend. Things like that. Like you'd still look up to your brother now. Obviously, he'd still be
Of
your role model in
course.
life.
Yeah, like even then, like like he's in my corner. Him and my coach, like one of them will always be in my corner. Do you know what I mean? Like usually I have to tell them I'm my coach in my corner when it's a local one, but I've been fighting in Asia the past while, so it's been hard to get them over with me. Lucky enough, my younger brother lives in Dubai, so he just flew over for my last fight in Asia. Yeah, that they're me comfort. You know what I mean? It's good to have something like that in your corner rather than just always getting instruction. Do you know what I mean?
You always you resound better to people that know you. Like I know when they say people to the coach and things like that for years, all they know them inside out. But there's nobody knows you better than your own family.
100%.
Have to ask the nickname Coco. Is it Coco because you're not a bit wise? Like, what's the name Coco all
A
about?
bit mad, a bit mad now. It was my older brother's nickname. I just took it to the next level. Do you know what I mean? Uh, I think Coakley. I think it comes from Coakley, or because we're tan. We tan quite a bit. But it was my older brother's nickname, and then obviously it was passed down to me. All his friends just started calling me Little Coco, and yeah, that got brought into the fight world.
I had to ask because obviously I always like to know nicknames, and like
Yeah.
whenever I see Coco, I'm going, he's a bit
What the
mad or
fuck
something,
is
does he?
that
You know,
for? Yeah, yeah.
I guess you have to
Yeah.
be mad in this game as well. Like it's a
Ah,
brutal
you're
sport.
right. Take shots to the head. You have to be a bit crazy. We're all a little bit slow, I'd say. Yeah.
And like, what age did you sort of start competing at then? Like, was there was there an age of where you could start?
Yeah, I boxed. My first boxing fight I was about when I was about 12. I left boxing for a while, then got into jiu-jitsu. I competed in MMA leagues when I was about 16, and then Muay Thai when I was about 17. Then on from 17 to now, I'm 32 now. I've 35 professional fights, most of them being wins, good percentage of them being stoppages, knockouts. I'm a vet in the game, but I'm still a kid in the game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're coming into the boxing professional boxing game as a novice, obviously, but that experience, obviously fighting all around the world, a big thing that obviously a lot of people like is you've 19 stoppages, I think, if I'm right in saying,
Yeah.
in your 35 fights, so you have power in your hands, you know,
Mm.
you can take a punch as well. Like if I'm thinking of other people that's crossed over, like Jamie Morrissey and David Ryan, they name a few. They've been exciting. They've been happy. They don't want to keep them down the journeyman route. Probably you with yourself some year, but going, let's test me as quick as possible because I don't want to mess about.
Exactly. That it'd be my only thing about boxers. It'd be like padding records and like in our saying like in toy boxing, you're finding the best from the get go. Like it's there's no like pussyfooting around it. There's no building your record. So that's why a lot of us come through losses as well. Do you know what I mean? It's literally from day one you're finding the best at your weight class. Now I'm fairly lucky. I've fought literally everybody in the back gardens. Uh so that's down to me, do you know what I mean?
What way do
Because you know
I guess when you look at it in boxing sometimes and you're seeing, that it takes a while. I guess the good thing is that your first couple of fights you're going to have because you have to get used to, like
yeah, no,
you have
exactly.
to get
That's
used to
another
it.
thing
Stop
there,
throwing
100%.
elbows, stop kicking people.
Yeah.
You need that sort of grounding
Sit
sometimes.
down a little bit, not stand so. Oh, yeah. No, I do. There's still stuff that I need to figure out myself with boxing, obviously. Like, I think that's one thing that's good about me. I'm very adaptable. So I'm adapting to the style fairly well.
What a place to make your professional debut. Like when you thought of it, and obviously turning pro and things like that. Like you're sort of reaching the very heights already. Like obviously a lot of boxing nowadays can be small hall shows and things like that. They build a platform up. You're fighting outdoors in Pearse Stadium on the 20th of June in Galway. Like you couldn't have asked for a better occasion to make your professional debut.
Yeah, yeah, and this is another thing. Near, I'd say 90% of Muay Thai fights are in all halls. Do you know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong, it's great because the atmosphere does be electric, but like fighting in stadiums for my first fight, that's something big to me. Do you know what I mean? All my career, like my whole career, all any fight I've had in Ireland was in a hall. The biggest I fought in Ireland was the basketball arena. I think that's 3,000. Like that. That was for a world title. Uh, it shows you the difference. Do you know what I mean? My first fight on a boxing show. It is a big boxing show, but it's not the biggest that they have in Ireland, and it's in a football stadium. It shows you the difference in opportunity, and shows you the difference.
You were sort of mentioning there, obviously, that there's not a lot of money in Muay Thai and things like that. Like obviously, boxing in some ways there's a lot of parallels to that. Sometimes until you make it to the bigger stage, you're sort of nearly running in fumes at times. Like obviously, a big part of it, I'm sure, is the same with Muay Thai as sponsors and things like that. So, but sponsors you've had from Muay Thai, will they come across with you to boxing?
Yeah, yeah. I've a few loyal sponsors that will come across. Obviously, looking for new ones to come on board always. But yeah, I'm fairly lucky in some of the sponsors that I've had throughout the years.
It's a vital part, and I keep saying it, but everybody nowadays, but it's so true. Like without sponsors, you can't get anywhere in life. It's a dear process, like doing your medicals and paying for your opponent and food and
Training
traveling and
camps,
things like that. It all
looking
mounts up.
everything. Do you know what I mean? Like everything is money these days, and like that, when you're starting out, you're not getting paid. Do you know what I mean? There's no money in it when you're starting out, so usually you make your money off sponsors. It's the same in toy. Literally, like you make more money off sponsors than you do off a Porsche, which is crazy, but it is what it is. There's no point crying over spilt milk, is there?
It definitely isn't. What would be the biggest attendance? And obviously, you're saying in Ireland, obviously the most you fought on about 3,000. Like when you fought, and obviously in other countries around the world, what's the biggest sort of attendance you sort of had?
I'm not sure. I fought in an arena in Dubai, and then I'm not too sure what the one in Bangkok calls. I think it's 8,000 or so. Same. I think the one in Dubai was like 10,000, but that was like at the end of COVID, so it was empty.
Mhm.
That was crazy, to be honest with you.
It's a strange time in life. Like obviously, I know we sort of lost a few years with COVID, but like the one thing if you fight, and like I know sometimes they say that you don't hear the noise of the crowd and things like that, but COVID was strange in every environment. Like you were
Mm.
sort of going like, where are we? Have we been transported to a different world here? It's like
Yeah.
everybody's wearing masks and you're not allowed within so many feet of people, and you're going, what's going
Yeah,
on?
you're
But thankfully,
fighting, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's no getting away from someone in a fight, you know what I mean?
there's not. Um, you've had a film out recently or a documentary, is that correct?
Yeah, there was a documentary on the run up to. So I fought throughout a tournament to get the contract for one championship. It was in, what was it? I think it was an 8-man tournament, and it was based over a year and a half. So it would have been 3 fights within like 1 year or a year and a half. Of a documentary just based on that.
Was it, so it was more was it behind the scenes and things like that?
Yeah, going through the fights, going through camp, me talking through the fights and stuff like that. Like, it's a
So
good watch.
there'll be a part two to come then with the boxing then, is
For
that
the
correct?
boxing now, yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Did you ever have to make weight so much? Obviously, we see Conor Benn and Chris Eubank, although we can Chris Eubank and ridiculed for sort of going into saunas and things like that the day of sort of weigh-ins. Like, was there much cutting weight, or were you always around the weight you were fighting?
No, it's a big thing in toy to cut weight. Yeah. So I for most of my career I've cut weight, and with one championship have like, so you have to be hydrated when you weigh in. So that one's a little bit tricky. Like that, like regardless of how close to the weight you are, most people will be dehydrated when they weigh in. So it's a little bit different with the way they do it. So yeah, I've dealt with like rehydration stuff, and I've cut weight quite a few times. Yeah,
Yeah, you've been well used to obviously through the years, like if you're saying from your first fight, 15 years ago to sort of now. Your debut super lightweight, 140 pounds, is that the sort of weight you're going to
that's
campaign
what
at, or
63.5 kilos. It's the same in Muay Thai. Same. Super lightweight is the same. That's where I've had most of my career. With one championship again because of the hydration thing, I had to move up to 66 kilos, which is 147.
yeah, so welterweight then. So and 140 then would be where you'll campaign. Like, do you think you can make it any lighter? Like, obviously your Optimus Prime at sort of 140.
Yeah, prime is that's my optimal weight is 140. I used to fight as low as 59 kilos. Not too sure what that is in pounds, but I had a good stint at 61, which is 135. But I wouldn't make that again. Like I'm 6 foot, big rangy, dangly thing like me, you know what I mean?
What can people sort of expect of you, Craig? Obviously, when you know, as you transition, probably maybe say to people, look, give me a couple of fights before I get used to it, or will you just go out there swinging from the fences looking for stoppages straight away?
Oh, I always look for the stoppage. We don't get paid for overtime after all, do you know what I mean? I'll always be looking to get finishes, but obviously my first fight, I want to try feel it out, see what it's like in there. I'm not talking like blade and go to 6 rounds. I'm 2 rounds maybe, and then go, yeah. But people can just expect entertainment. Do you know what I mean? People are paying good hard earned money to watch me. Do you know what I mean? The least I can do is put on a show for them.
Exactly, very much, and that's the way. Sometimes it's like you have to entertain, like it's entertainment business. You pretty much you work in a circus, and you're sort of that animal that's sort of caged up and let out. They fight, and that's the bizarre thing about the sport. But you're the prize sort of catch, and the only way that you get attention to yourself is entertainment
Is
and
by
knockouts.
doing this, yeah. Stoppages. Like again, if you want to fast track yourself up to the top, you need to be pumping people away and in fashion.
And you're managed by Alax Boxing, is that correct?
Yeah, Arden Bick, his name is.
Mm.
He's a
How
good
did
lad. I
that
think he
sort of
used to
come about?
box back in the day. I was stuck in the contract with one, and we've a mutual friend in Dubai. John Mitchell is his name. I was talking quite a bit to John. John was saying he'd have one of his friends look at the contract to see if there was any way out of it. Turned out it was Arden. We ended up getting talking, and he seems like a good bloke. And then we kind of had a mutual agreement, like going forward, we John us like manage me like in Muay Thai. Your coach usually manages you.
Hmm.
So Collie, me coach, would have managed me also, but like that, he has a stable of blade and 40 odd fighters. Do you know what I mean? So it becomes a thing where it's a little bit harder for him. Do you know what I mean? Especially up at the top. It's with me, like, do you know what I mean? He's dealing with contracts and then he's trying to deal with fighters, and very hard to kind of keep that up.
John obviously is a built obviously quite a stable out there obviously, and I see that quite a lot of fighters go to him in preparation for camps and things like that. Like I'm sure that's something you'd like to do obviously over time, is sort of get out and just being able to focus just on your boxing now and dust up on wee things, because I'm sure you'll probably have chinks in the armor that you probably don't have think you have yet. But obviously people like John that's been about and has plenty of experience in the sport will obviously be able to help you tick all the wee boxes off.
Yeah, most definitely.
So we're just over 5 weeks out from your debut. Like, um, I'm sure you just can't wait to get going now. Obviously, now that the
I
news is
can't
out there,
tell straight.
you
It's
know.
very exciting for me, do you know what I mean? After being in Thai boxing throughout the past 15 years. So it's new. So it's very exciting for me.
And you want to progress quickly. And obviously, at 32, obviously, I wouldn't say you're the oldest sort of in the pack, because obviously there's quite a few with experienced stuff there. But like, you don't want to be sort of messing about for a few years, sort of building things up. You're sort of get a couple of fights and then start looking towards titles.
Exactly. 2 to 3 maybe, and then start fucking going through the Irish scene or international scene. Like,
And what do you make of, like, I guess you've always kept a keen eye on obviously boxing and things like that. Like, what do you make of the current landscape of boxing? Like, it's thriving. We only look at what obviously they're doing in Riyadh with obviously the boxing, and even the big shows they're putting on the UK and Ireland. Like, what do you make of the scene that you're joining?
yeah, it's booming again. For a long time, boxing kind of died. No, I wouldn't say died, but like it fizzled out a little bit. There wasn't much happening. Fighters weren't fighting each other. Everyone was kind of dodging each other. But now you're starting to see like Irish lads fighting Irish lads again. They're not really worrying about their records. They're just getting in there to fight now, which is great. I think it is more so because of what's happening in Riyadh. People are saying that there's a good bit of money to be made over there. So I think that's spurring them to take bigger fights so that they can get themselves onto shows like that. So yeah, I'm happy that I'm joining at this time now rather than back then when there wasn't much going on or there wasn't people actually taking fights.
It's boxing's weird sometimes. In some ways, it's fighters are sometimes scared to lose the O. Like, not everybody's going to be Floyd Mayweather, and then when they do suffer defeat, like you see people ridiculing them. Obviously, with Johnny Fisher, obviously in London last week, got fought, and now that he's got beat for the first time, people saying he's no good. Like, people just write you off so quickly. Like, I guess that's something you'll have to, well, have to hopefully get used to for a while of obviously suffering defeat, but. like people see you get a defeat and then you're going, well, you're not getting where you think you're going to get to in the sport. Like one defeat can't
Yeah.
define where you're going in life.
I shouldn't either, do you know what I mean? Especially if you are testing yourself against the best lads in your division. Uh, like that back in the heyday, Eubank, Ben, not like Connor and Chris. I'm talking about like the dads. Do you know what I mean? Like all them had trilogies. You know what I mean? All these lads fought each other multiple times. No one was afraid to lose back then. Do you know what I mean? It is the whole Floyd Mayweather thing. Everyone thinks that they need to keep it. Everyone thinks that they need to keep their own. So they're trying to protect their record and doing so. But then that just making boxing boring, you know what I mean? No one wants to fight each other, everyone wants to try play safe until they get to that level. Whereas it should be the opposite way. It should be everyone's trying to fight each other to get to that level.
I guess a good thing is now with more money in the sport, like obviously, people are not having to fight for world title now to make life changing money. I guess that's evening things up and making people go, well, you know what? If I lose, I'm going to lose to a very high purse rather than the pennies that I got before. So it's weighing it up nicely now. We're seeing the very best fighting the very best because you know there is a price for everything nowadays, and if
Exactly,
you know
exactly. Money
and if you,
talks.
if you can make that price, then the fight happens.
Mm.
you know. But look, I've come to obviously, I guess the part of obviously getting to know you. I guess obviously the next thing now is obviously seeing you in action and obviously building the profile. Any sponsors, anything you want to shout out that you have at the moment? Because I guess that's the thing that they need they need the shout outs there to show that they're
Yeah,
ready there
I'm
supporting you.
still waiting on a few to come in, but the sponsors that have been with me, Active Scaffolding, White Crew, a couple of others. Yeah, big shout out to them for constantly taking care of me. But
And
yeah, if anyone else wants to jump on board, hit me up.
and obviously tickets and things like that. Obviously, how can people get tickets for you ahead of your professional debut?
Yeah, no, I'd be a good ticket seller. I've always had a big crowd, a good backing behind me, and loyal fans. So tickets aren't the biggest of me worries, I'd say. But like that, yeah, it's always good to sell more.
Definitely. Well, obviously, we'll tag you and obviously certain things on social media. So if somebody wants to get tickets off you, they can know where to get the contact with you. But
Yeah,
Craig, look, obviously, it's great to get the first one out of the way. Obviously, I'll be looking forward to obviously watching the careers as we move forward. Hopefully, be able to see as many fights live as we can. But enjoy
yeah,
your next couple of weeks of camp, and we'll obviously see you in Galway on the 20th of June.
yeah. Thanks very much. I appreciate you. Yeah.
Not a problem, Craig. I'll speak to you soon.
See you later.
Cheers.
Bye.
Take care. Thanks. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye.